I used to clone GitHub repos and work away at them without a care in the world. Now with the increase in supply chain attacks, I'm terrified with every pip install and npm install. This is a list of the major supply chain attacks in just the last few months. In one of the attacks, over 5,000 repos were compromised in 6 hours. In another two, almost 500 npm and Python packages were compromised. The recent attacks are mostly about stealing credentials. The attacker compromises a package, publishes the compromised package, you install or update that package, the package runs hidden code during the install, and then that code looks for secrets on your machine or in a CI environment. And then the attacker sends those secrets back to themselves and leaves a hidden backdoor on your machine. Because of all of these attacks, I've realized I can no longer raw dog it like it's 2020. I needed to come up with a new development workflow. These were my requirements. Need to isolate unknown code. I want it to feel local. I want to skip Dockerfile and environment setup headaches. I want a coding agent ready to work in my environment, and I want to be able to set the agent in YOLO mode. Plus, I'm cheap and lazy, so I built CodeSnuggie. CodeSnuggie is basically an agent skill and an environment where you can give it a npm package or another repo that you want to work with. It will inspect it. It will generate the dev container for it. It will build and test that the environment actually runs, and then it'll open a PR for you so you can go ahead with that other repo and run it in a Codespace. I'll walk you through it step by step so it's clearer, but really the agent does most of the work and you can sit back and watch it create your environment. This is the CodeSnuggie Control Center open source repo that I created. It has the agent skill in it to set up and test your new Codespace. The first thing we're going to do is set up a completely new empty repo. For this demo, I'm going to show how CodeSnuggie Control Center can set up an environment for you to run remotion so that you don't have to struggle with writing the Docker files, the dev container JSON, none of it. It will handle it. So all you have to do is create this empty repo. If we wanted to create a dev environment for an existing repo, we could just point CodeSnuggie at that existing repo, or if we wanted to work with a new open source repo we never worked with before, we would fork that repo and then point CodeSnuggie at the fork. But for this, we're going to start with just an empty scratch repo. Then you're going to fork CodeSnuggie Control Center. I'm able to skip that fork step because I'm the admin of the space repo. We just need to make a quick change. We'll go into the dev container JSON file, and then we need to give CodeSnuggie Control Center permissions to write to our new repo that we just created. So you can do this all in the GitHub UI. Click on the edit file and then change the example there to the repo we just created. So we're going to change this to square0labs/remotion-demo, and then this will give CodeSnuggie the ability to write to this repo. So if you are doing this for yourself, you're going to want to change this to your GitHub username / the repo you want CodeSnuggie to write to, and then you can commit those changes directly in GitHub. Now you can launch your Codespace directly in the UI without downloading anything. So you just go into code there, Codespace, and then create a new Codespace, and then it will open another browser tab and launch your full Codespace right there in the browser. This completely works, and you can do it this way. One of my requirements is I do want to feel like I'm working locally. So instead of using the browser version of VS Code, I'm going to use the desktop version of VS Code. So here I am with my desktop VS Code. Unfortunately, there is one extension we have to install if we want to run the Codespace from our local VS Code. So we'll search Codespaces, and then there is that GitHub Codespaces extension. I know, we don't want to install software, but gotta bite the bullet and do this one unless you're okay with just using the web version. And you only have to do this install once. You will not have to do it next time you connect to a Codespace. Then you're going to want to click on the Remote Explorer icon on the left there, and then click Create Codespace. Assuming you've logged in your VS Code to your GitHub, you will see your GitHub repos there, and you can select the CodeSnuggie Control Center repo that you forked as the basis for your Codespace. So you just select the branch you want and the size. 2 cores is fine. Since we added that cross-repo write access in our dev container JSON, you're going to be prompted to OK this access. So the browser tab will just open, and we see that the remotion demo has been added, that we have write access from the Codespace we're creating. So you can go ahead and authorize that. and then go back to your desktop VS Code. And it should be working away building your dev container. It's going to build a container based on the Docker file referenced in the dev container JSON. It's going to put the codex extension right in there so you can use codex. And it's going to have a plugin called Docker in Docker so that it can actually test and build the Dockers it's going to create for other repos. I found that this is a huge limitation with other workflows. For instance, I tried using Codex Cloud to create environments and it wasn't able to actually run Docker files. So you'd ask it to create a Docker file, it would create something with an error, and then you go try to build it and hit the error either in building or in running the application. So a completely frustrating experience when you want the agent to build and test its work. Once your Codespace is ready, you'll see that the files from the repo will show up there. And just to show you the dev container JSON, it's right there. And you can see that it has the OpenAI ChatGPT extension. And that's why we actually see the Codex extension in the left tab there. So when I click on it, it will give me some sign-in options. I'm just going to sign in with ChatGPT. It opens a browser tab and I can authenticate with my account that way, and then just go back to my VS Code. Remember, all of this is running in a Codespace, so even if you're logged in on your local machine, you have to log in for the Codespace. So now we have Codex running in our Codespace, and since it's an isolated environment, I feel brave enough to go to YOLO mode. This is super exciting because when I'm on my local machine, this is what I imagine happening if I were to set full access mode. Since I'm on an isolated environment, I can run in YOLO mode without that fear, and I get to avoid interactions like this.
Can I access a file? Can I install dependencies? Can I delete everything on your hard drive?
Enough playing around, let's see CodeSnuggy in action. If you go to the README, you'll see how you can prompt Codex to take advantage of CodeSnuggy. There's basically two ways you can go about this. Either say create a Codespaces ready repo for and give a link to the repo and open a PR to my destination repo, or create a Codespaces ready repo from some sort of starter script like the remotion starter and open a PR to that target repo we created earlier. We're going to use the remotion starter script for this example. It works with other starter scripts. This is just an example. The CodeSnuggy skill right now works with Node projects and Python projects. So here I'm giving Codex that prompt and telling it the exact destination repo where it should open the PR. It's able to open that PR because of this write access we gave it earlier. So let's go ahead and let it fly. It reviews the repo and sees the CodeSnuggy skill and determines it is completely on point for the task at hand, so it is using that. It checks the destination repo to see what the status is, and it determines that it's empty and knows that it has to seed a base branch before opening a PR. It figures out how to run the remotion starter, and then it goes ahead and creates the dev container, and it actually launches the dev container and tests that remotion works inside the dev container. Also, as set out in the skill, it sets up a squid egress proxy, so the outbound internet traffic in the dev container is limited, so when you set your agent to YOLO mode, there's only certain allow list destinations it can get from the internet. It keeps iterating until it has remotion actually running in the dev container and is able to test that it works and that the egress properly works through the squid proxy. And then when it's all done and confirmed and it makes sure there's no secrets in the files it created, it will open APR for you. It will also take any lessons it learned from the install and add that back to the CodeSnuggy skill. It took the agent about 12 minutes to do all of this, and you can go inspect the files. It creates some artifacts to show what it actually did. Under the .codesnuggy directory, you'll see the actual files it created. It will create a separate directory for each job. Here we're under the remotion demo job, and under workspace, we have a job MD where it has the description of the job it ran with a status checklist that it went through. And then there's a log MD where it timestamps the actions it took and provides a little more detail on what it did to build the environment. And then there's a validation MD which shows the test it actually ran to validate that the container will work once you start it up, and then it does a security review and records the results. If I go back to GitHub to that Remotion demo repo we'd created that was empty, and I refresh the page, we see we now have a pull request. So we now have a branch that has a dev environment to work with Remotion. Let's give it a spin. So back in our VS Code on desktop, I'm going to go into the Remote Explorer tab and then find the repo where the Remotion demo is, pick the branch CodeSnuggy created, and then for this, I'm just going to select the 2 cores, and then the Remotion environment that CodeSnuggy defined will spin up, and I can start working in it directly with a Codex agent there to hold my hand. And I don't have to install anything or set up ports or iterate on a Docker file. Once the Codespace is ready, I can authenticate with Codex and then use Remotion to create some videos. I iterated a bit with some prompts in order to make a short CodeSnuggy intro animation. But really, I just wanted to test out the Codespace, and everything did feel like I was developing locally. So while I do wish it was still the good old days of 2020 when I could npm install without feeling like I needed to take a shower right after, this is a workable solution, and it is good practice to have repeatable environments. And keep in mind that nothing is 100% secure, but this is certainly better than just downloading random code onto your own machine. And if you need to get secrets onto your environment, you can do that in the GitHub UI under Settings in the repo, then Secrets, Codespaces, and then add in your secrets there. Then they'll be accessible in the environment itself. You could also do this via the CLI, and you could also do it across many repos in your account settings. So now if I echo that variable in my environment, I see that I have the value there. When you're done working with a Codespace, you can stop it or delete it in VS Code or in the GitHub UI. I had mentioned earlier that this is cheap approved. I should be a little more specific. You do get free hours per month of GitHub Codespaces. So on a free tier, you're going to really get 60 hours. 120 is total, but if you're doing at least 2 cores, it's going to be 60 hours. And then if you have GitHub Pro, it's 90 hours per month, assuming you're using machines with 2 cores. So you do have that free time, and then if you go over your free allocation, this is the pricing, which is probably roughly twice the price of EC2 on AWS. So I am thinking about a dev sandbox automated setup on AWS. If that's interesting to you, please leave a comment. And if you have a much better dev workflow than this, please let me know. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.